Justin, what is Clear Frontier?
Hi, everybody. Justin Bruch. Clear Frontier is a farmland fund. We're based out of Omaha, Nebraska. And what we do is we go out and buy U.S. farmland, and then we lease that to a local farm operator and work with them to go through the transition process so they can transition it to certified organic and keep it certified organic. And the key behind that is that if you look at the U.S. farmland market, there's 90 million acres of corn, 90 million acres of soybeans grown every year in the United States, roughly. About 1.5% of that is going to be organic. And about 50% of that farmers farm is going to be leased land. And typically, that leased land is going to be leased on a one-year basis. You're going to pay your cash rent the 1st of March. You're going to go out and farm that farm, and next year, it's going to get renegotiated for rent. When you transition to certified organic, it takes 36 months to get to certified organic. And what you don't want to be is halfway through that transition process and lose that farm to the guy down the road. And so for us, when we buy a farm, we structure a long-term lease, which gives that farmer the runway to be able to go out and go through that transition process and get it certified organic. And the reason really, there's a lot of reasons why we go to certified organic. If you look at it from a farmer economic standpoint, organic grains typically trade 2 to 2.4x to conventional grains. So it allows a farmer to farm less acres, make more revenue. It also allows us to get more younger farmers into farming because large-scale farming is an economy of scale business. It takes a lot of capital to do it. And if you look at it from a sustainability standpoint, when you go through the transition process to get certified organic and you start using a 3-crop rotation manure, you start raising your soil organic matter. Every 1% of soil organic matter you raise, you hold 20,000 gallons of water your plants can use, 30 pounds of free nitrogen, nitrogen being the biggest need you'll need for a crop that's a grass. And also, it's about 56 to 58% sequestered carbon. So when you out and raise soil organic matter, you're really sequestering carbon and increasing your soil health, which produces a healthier crop, which also produces and increases the value of your farmland through doing that. So ultimately, us getting to that transition period of organic gives those farmers that opportunity to make more money and ultimately us to disrupt and change the way farming is done today by trying to push that out of conventional and over to organic.
You were able to effectively prove out your thesis with the help of Builder's Vision. So Lukas, tell us why you got interested in this and kind of Builder's Vision played a very fundamental role in the creation and the proof of concept and why you think of that as a potential model for where you want to go in the future.
Yeah, thanks, Sanjeev. And just really proud to be here on the stage with Justin. I think this is very emblematic of what we want to do more here of Builder's Vision and the entire team at Clear Frontier. I mean, you've built an incredible team to get to this point in time. So I believe that we were really excited about the vision that Justin brought us and that we worked with Justin to co-develop because of the education that I had in working with the Walton Family Foundation in food and agriculture and trying to engage farmers through philanthropy on commodity agriculture and trying to switch crop practices to be less pollutive for water. And the Walton Family Foundation on its environmental program is largely a water-oriented foundation. Now, water in the United States is about 70% of water consumption comes from agriculture. And one of the things that we're about in Builder's Vision as an organization is shifting markets and minds for good. I think that there are limits, like every organization, every entity, and every type of capital has limits of what philanthropy can do to really kind of shift the needle. And so you need to find innovative, flexible capital and to address the friction point in the right way. And Clear Frontier for us was something that was very mission aligned with trying to meet farmers where they were at, give them security in terms of those long-term agreements. Justin, as a person, cared about sustainability and soil health, knew about the issues in terms of water pollution, and represented that in the business that we were going to be investing in. So we were aligned from that point of view.
When you think about the full spectrum of capital and then the thesis, what is it that you hope for? You're willing to fund 100% of the proof of concept track record, but you'd like to bring in catalyzing capital. Why is that important to you? To both provide the proof of concept track record to managers or entrepreneurs or investors, but then the catalytic nature of it, why is that important?
So, of course, these systems and problems are much bigger than what we can alone work to address. And creating vehicles and creating moments in which others can participate, opportunities for others to participate and catalyze their capital, that is shifting markets and minds for good, right? If I want to go back to the mission, quite simply, these problem sets are trillion-dollar problem sets, if not larger, on a cumulative basis. I think you heard Secretary Moniz talk about trillions per year that needs to go to work just in energy alone. When you think about food as its own sector, and then agricultural as its own sector, like these are massive, massive problems, and so we need to work on creating many more opportunities. And I think that Builder's Vision is that laboratory in which we can work with partners to help structure the best opportunities possible.
Fit for purpose capital,
Yeah.
trillion-dollar transitions. We highlighted Clear Frontier because it's sort of where you want to go next with Builder's Vision in terms of really understanding system frictions, where you get market rate return, but there isn't this proof of concept out there, and you're willing to go first and try to see if it can work as an experiment, and then hopefully scale that experiment. Why is that, in your view? That can be a very lonely experience. I mean, not many people are willing to do that. What is it that motivates you from that to do that work?
We have the ability to take risk as an organization, and that both the scale of the problems, but also the opportunity sets that we have within Builder's Vision because of the information and insights, allows us to make an informed decision. And I'm willing to find and resource the best talent that I can to help have that information and resource when we do take that position. So it is a structured risk, and it's not just risk on, right? As a first-time fund with a first-time team. Justin had an incredible track record, along with his partner Angus, right? They've done a lot of work across international countries in tough environments, working with and building relationships with farmers. That diligence, that level of engagement, and the thought partnership that we could provide from across our network really allowed us to build conviction with Justin. I mean, he was walking the halls with us for 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
Right? And building the platform and the idea and the concept.
Or in our office at a slope.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I think that we can look at this as an example. I want to ask us as an organization, as a team, what could we do to help speed it up? Because it took us 3 to 4 years to get to this point where we can actually celebrate.
You want to go faster.
Well,
ideally.
I think the scope of the problem says that we need to try.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, we need to do the quality of the work that was embedded in the model for Clear Frontier, but how we look at ourselves as an organization, that feedback loop that helps to inform us on those friction points. I definitely want to build that insights engine and that culture that will allow us to think about how to structure the right product.
This sector has gotten a lot of buzz. Pick your buzzword.
Yeah.
I know you don't like regen ag or organic, but you like sustainability more.
Yes.
Talk about the strategy as a product in terms of why you think it's the right product, given where we are from just an industry perspective.
Yeah, I think you look at agriculture, it's a neat industry in that today it's a bad emitter from an environmental standpoint, but yet it has the ability, if done right, to actually be a positive in a net, taking carbon out. Not a lot of industries can do that. So I think from that piece, it is unique. It's not that I dislike the word regen. I think we hear the word regenerative ag a lot, and nobody knows what it means. And with organic, it is got its own certification process. It's standard, and you are paid a premium for following that standard, doing it right, and being able to get that to consumer. And so consequently, it's a capitalist world. Farmers work by being paid for the work they do, and so when you put a broad label on it, I think you end up with a lot of whitewashing. And instead of actually going out and looking at getting true results. If you took Iowa, 1850, prairie grass, probably 7% organic matter on average across the state. Today, it's probably 2.5 to 3. So let's say it's 3%. So we've degraded 400 basis points or 4%. Our goal is in 10 years of this fund, by doing what we're doing, is to add 1% organic matter to each of our farms. When we buy a farm, day one, we go out and baseline that farm. A few soil tests, we look at our water usage, and we record all that, and we do it year over year. So we can actually see how we're doing. And are things we need to change? Do we need to change our cropping rotation, our cover crops? If you go from a corn on corn or corn, snow, corn, which is a lot of what the I states end up doing, and now you start going corn, soybeans, wheat, alfalfa. As soon as you change that from an agronomy standpoint, you start increasing organic matter, and you start using manure and cutting out your insecticides, fungicides, herbicides, you start changing your soil health. So if we can do that and add 1% to that in 10 years, we will have reversed 25% of the degradation that's happened in the last 150 years. I think that's big. I think that changes ag. And if we can do that on 30, 35,000 acres in our first fund, I think it also hopefully is a lead for other people to get in the space and continue to grow that. And I think agriculture needs that. It needs that disruption to change out for what we're doing year over year of the same conventional process.
When you thought about first-time fund, first-time manager, new strategy in an asset class that wasn't, you're sort of different, what were your lessons learned about raising and sort of trying to do fit-for-purpose capital that we learned from a system friction? We Lukas funded 100% of it to prove it, and then the idea was to catalyze more and crowd in. What was your experience?
Well, one of the things I learned and it was super crucial for us, is having Lukas as that cornerstone and that support was fantastic. We needed that for a lot of reasons. One, us being able to go out and buy those first farms, have those farms, work with those farmers, get them in transition, going through the process. It's a lot easier than going out and looking at a PowerPoint and saying, this is my vision of what I want to do. This is what I am doing. I'm a fifth generation family farmer, and I like to go out and get things done instead of talking about how we're going to get to them to get done. So that piece is important, and ultimately S2G, and I'm not just saying this because I'm sitting on the stage with these guys, I'll say it 1,000 times over, absolutely instrumental in having a partner that can open doors, you can cry on their shoulder, they can give you guidance, and they can introduce you to people to get through that process to go out and raise money. Those things are the keys that really propelled it along, and I think having a good strategy and a right focus was also very, very crucial for us in order to go out and achieve what we were doing.